The old tubes. I'm a tinkerer. I've been a tinkerer since I was a small kid. I always take things apart and wondered how they worked, wondered what would make them tick. I used to go to a flea market when I was a kid with my parents. It was an old abandoned drive-in movie theater. Hadn't been in many years, so I decided to make the trip. I went and a lot of things had changed. It was different. Mainly clothes and people selling fruit. A bunch of junk, really. One old man with car parts. I moseyed on through and got to a table where there was an old man sitting there. He had a bunch of electronics, old radios. I saw a box of old used tubes at the end of the table. I asked him how much. He said, make me an offer. I said, I really don't know. How about $20? He said, sold. He said, some of them work, some of them don't. That's up to you, though. Most people take them and make designs out of them. I told him I'd probably do that or stick them in an old radio I had at home. I bought them and sort of excited. I didn't really want to see much more there, so I left and went home. I had an old Tombstone radio that my dad had left me in the 30s, an old AC Delco. It didn't work. It needed tubes and a lot of work. Soldering. I don't know. I figured that some of these tubes may work. So I took the old radio apart and started tinkering. 2 of the tubes in the radio were bad, so I replaced them with the ones I bought at the flea market. I plugged the old thing in after about an hour's worth of work, soldered some boards, and lo and behold, it came on. It was amazing. I'd never even seen the thing work before. I turned it on, and lo and behold, it started making sounds. I fumbled through and didn't really hear anything. It tried to find a station. The dial on this thing was so small and old, I had trouble seeing it. It was kind of fun, though. Come on. There's something here. Huh. Old Glenn Miller. One of my dad's favorites. That's crazy. Well, damn, it works. Let's see what else I can get here. Come on.
German aircraft carried out a number of attacks on Great Britain last night.
What the hell?
Raids, which lasted for several hours, were scattered over many parts of the country.
The hell was
Enemy
this?
aircraft have been reported over towns on the south coast, the west of England, the North Midlands and the northwest, as well as over the London area. There are reports
That's
from
crazy.
Germany that our bombers attacked.
I figured I'd gotten into some kind of an old radio program, but I didn't know of any radio programs that played live stuff like this. I kept searching. All right, give me something good here. Okay. What in the hell is going on with this thing? I kept fumbling. I couldn't pick up anything but old-time radio programs. It didn't make any sense. I called the local radio stations, and they all said they didn't broadcast anything, World War II or anything like that at all. It was strange. I said, well, how is this even possible? How is this doing this? Nobody could give me an answer. They must have told me 1,000 times it was probably some kind of an old recording. But I kept trying and trying. Come on, there's got to be something else on here. Come on. Fine.
Cotton pickers,
many times have you found your job really painful because of sore and chapped hands? Now, at
What in the
last,
world?
somebody has done something about this condition. Cotton Picker's Friend is on the market. A scientifically
I can't believe it. This is all that's playing on this radio. I don't understand it.
When used daily,
I sat there in amazement. I couldn't pick anything up but old-time radio. I decided to get to the bottom of it and drive back to the flea market on that following Sunday. I arrived and I got there. I looked for the old man that sold me the old tubes. I went up to him and lo and behold, he was there. I asked him, I said, "Sir, do you remember me?" He said, "Sure do." I said, "Those old tubes, I put them in my dad's old radio and something strange is happening. It won't play anything but old-time radio. Old-time, like everything. Glenn Miller, like old-time stuff. I don't get it." He just looked at me and said, You heard it too, didn't you? You bought the old box from the old man." Old box? What are you talking about? I got that old box from a yard sale. A man had died, and he was over 90 years old, World War II vet. He had an old radio and old parts. He used to tinker with them, do the same stuff that you do. And I used a few of those in one of my old radios. It wouldn't stop. What wouldn't stop? The old-time programs. I left the old radio on that I had all day. It would play nothing but old-time music, old-time commercials, old-time advertisements. I took the tubes out and put new ones in, and it stopped. I don't know what's going on with those tubes, son, but I think they're haunted. Haunted? Haunted tubes. Are you kidding me? Well, you heard it yourself, didn't you, kid? I said, "Yeah, you're right." He said, I don't know what to do with those things. I don't want them back. Just throw them away. Get rid of them." And that's exactly what I'd do. Well, until I tried to find some more radio stations. I rushed home and got right back to the radio. I had to give it one more shot. It couldn't be true. It couldn't be true. There it was again. Moonlight Serenade on that old radio. At this point, the hair stood up on the back of my neck and my arms. I knew something was wrong. I looked deeper in the box and I noticed that there was a name on the label in there. It said Harry Jorgensen and an address. I put the address in my GPS and found that the man and the name in the box was only about 15 miles from my home. I decided to take a trip. I got in my car and went right up to the house. I knocked on the door and an older man answered, maybe in his 50s, 60s. He said, "Yes." I said, "Hello, was your dad Harry by chance?" He said, "Yeah. How did you know? Did you know him?" "No. I bought some stuff at a yard sale, at a flea market, and I think I got a box of his stuff, some old tubes." He said, "Oh yeah, my dad. He was a tinkerer, always messing them old radios." "What's wrong, son? Everything okay? You look a little peaked." I said, "Look, I put some of those tubes in a radio of my dad's, and it won't play anything but old-time radio programs. I think I might be losing my mind." He said, "Huh. Well, that's odd. What kind of old time radio programs? Just old this, old that, commercials, wartime stuff. Glenn Miller over and over. Glenn Miller, he said. Yeah, Glenn Miller. Yeah, that's odd. My dad's favorite song was Moonlight Serenade by Glenn Miller. I turned white as a sheet and knew right away that his spirit was in those tubes. Something was in those tubes. I said, "Thank you, sir," and I just turned away numb. I drove home and took those tubes out. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. They're still there, but I'm curious, but I'm also afraid. I don't want to throw them away, and I don't want to really keep them. But I know they're haunted, and the ones you see right in front of you now, those are the tubes. I don't think I'm going to keep them out much longer. I'm just going to pack them away and put them in my garage.